Welcome aboard Mountaineer Rants flight number 2023 with continued service to the Big 12 Championship in Arlington, Texas, December 2nd. Please buckle up as there may be some turbulence. We suggest you keep your negative thoughts securely stowed beneath your seat. Positive feelings can ride on your lap in front of you. Avoid acting like a terrorist so we don't have to shoot you. And in the event you need to bail, exits are clearly marked. Like and subscribe to this channel to assure that you get great flights in the future. And right now you should sit back, relax, put your seat in the upright position, and enjoy our run.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Rants. I'm Terry. This is Paul. How you doing? Good to see you. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the players that you're going to see when you watch West Virginia tee it up against Penn State, and particularly the offense and the defense, and what we maybe could give you a little insight about them.
In many ways, it's a new team, new quarterbacks, new defensive secondary. A couple of things will stay the same, the line. Let's go through it a little bit at a time. Let's start with the quarterbacks, what everybody wants to talk to.
That's what everybody wants to know.
We're going to have either Garrett Green, a number 6, a 5'11 junior, who played in a couple of games last year, or number 8, Nico Marchiol, a 6'1 redshirt freshman.
And he played a little bit too last year. One was in mop-up and one was in Oklahoma State when Garrett Green got hurt. But
both of them are scrambling quarterbacks.
Yeah,
both of them can run. Nico is a left-hander.
Yeah.
Green is a right-hander. Green's got some blinding speed when he takes off.
But they're both relatively untested in major college football. Green's played a little bit, but when you come in with a quarterback that's a question mark, you don't have an experienced one, you're not going to get ranked like people are going to think you're very good. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think Green's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be the starter. And they're being coy with that, but I believe he's the one who's going to play. But I think Marchiol will play too. So.
Then in the running back room, that's supposed to be one of our strengths. We have 4 running backs that'll probably see some time. Our workhorse is C.J. Donaldson, number 4, who's physical. He's 238 pounds. He's a sophomore.
Big, strong tight end. Came in as a tight end. They moved him to running back, and he can run fast. But he got hurt a couple times. Yeah, that concussion he had last year one time, and then he went out. But let's see, he's going to take a beating. So he's going to need to be spelled a little bit. And who's going to do that?
Well, backing him up, we have Justin Johnson and Jalen Anderson. Johnson is number 26. Anderson is number 0. I think they're similar runners.
Both of them flashed a little bit last year. Johnson, particularly in the Tech game, played pretty well. Jalen Anderson took over the Oklahoma State game and had 2 long runs in that. So I think Jalen Anderson's a little shorter, stockier, harder to bring down.
I think he's a little more physical.
Or Justin Johnson is more of a scat back type, but he can run over people too. So they're both good runners. They're not C.J. Donaldson hot size, but they can run.
And then the exciting one that's just freshman by the name of Jaheim White, number 22. I think you're going to get a kick out of him. That boy is fast.
He looked good in the spring game, and they're talking about getting him the ball in his hands somehow, maybe on kickoff returns and stuff like that. We do miss Tony Mathis. Tony Mathis would have been the number 1 guy here probably, or maybe number 2, but he's moved on to different places, but that's okay. Jaheim White could be a lot of fun.
I think Tony would have been probably number 3, maybe number 4.
Maybe
that's why he's gone.
Maybe that's why he left. Although he was a big, strong, quick guy, but I don't think he's as good as Donaldson or Jalen or Justin. So anyway, I didn't mean to hijack it.
It's a strong running back room.
It's a good running back room.
It's brand new quarterback. Now, we've got some tight ends that we promise every year we're going to use tight ends more. At least 2 of them need mentioned. Cole Taylor, number 87, who's 6'7" and 250 pounds, and he was a transfer.
Come from LSU. He got down there. Another kid named Taylor, who's Jason Taylor's son, came to LSU, and I think he saw the writing on the wall. He came to Morgantown. We saw him in the spring game make a beautiful one-handed catch.
He can catch the ball.
Yeah,
he's big,
and
I like that.
And he's big and tall, so that's.
And we have Traylon Davis, who's number 81. He's a sophomore. He's 6'3", 255.
He's been around for a couple years, but he just never. He's got in. He's played. He's done some good blocking. He's never been a receiving threat. So we'll see how that works out. He's going to be more of a blocker, I think, than anything else. Taylor will be the one if we throw the ball.
I think Cole Taylor will be the one we throw it to. Victor Whitcomb is the other one. He's number 82. He's a sophomore, and then we've got a freshman named Dixon.
Will Dixon, yeah, could be good. I don't know that you're going to see him much this year. Personally,
No.
I think he's kind of going to be on the red shirt track if we can.
But let's talk about the other receivers. We've got a transfer by the name of Devin Carter, number 5. He's a senior, and he's 6'3", and he's supposed to be the workhorse taking the place of Bryce Ford Wheaton.
He came from NC State, caught a lot of passes down there. I think you'll be surprised with his hands because I think he's going to catch the ball better. I just don't know that he's got the straight out speed that Bryce Ford Wheaton had, but we'll see. I think he's got the potential to be a number 1 receiver, so we'll see.
Cortez Bram is also being talked about, number 11. He's also a senior.
I'm looking for him to take a step up. It's his second year in the program. Now that he knows what he's doing, I think he can have. Those are going to be our 2 main receivers, I believe. But we're going to play a lot of receivers this year.
Preston Fox is a sophomore now. He's played in the past, number 29. Traylon Ray is a freshman. He's number 18. Rodney Gallagher is a freshman. He's number 2.
Now, if you remember Preston Fox last year's spring game, he caught everything they threw out there to him. And it was funny because we were complaining about other receivers that had problems dropping the ball. Preston Fox caught everything, but he never saw the field much.
He didn't see the field.
Traylon Ray and Rodney Gallagher, 2 exciting freshman receivers. I hope we see them on the field. I just don't know how much they're going to know, how much they're going to be able to do things. One of the things I heard in the press conference is that in the past, those 2 guys would have been redshirted right away, or you'd have played them maybe 4 games. But you say with the way portal is and NIL, they might leave. So get them in there and get them playing. That's we'll see. I think both of them have serious potential. They're just young though. They're just young guys.
Jashawn Polk is a transfer. He's a senior. He's number 3.
He's a speed guy, going to maybe try to return some. I'm not expecting a lot from him.
Jeremiah Aaron, number 1, is also a junior, and he's been talked about by the coaches a lot.
Second year in the program, and he's got 1 more year of eligibility. So I think he's probably a little faster than Bram, not as big as Devin Carter.
And then Noah Massey is the big boy, 6'3", 237, number 15, that they're talking up.
Interesting to see how much he's going to play. Big, strong guy, probably more of a build of a tight end type, but I think he can play on the outside. We'll see if we just put him out there strictly to block on run plays or whether we throw it to him. We'll see. I'm curious to watch him play. Don't know much about him.
And with all these new guys or these up-and-coming guys, we really don't know who's going to be. I think Brown's going to play a lot of them.
I think
he's got a lot of them coming and going.
He said the other day maybe 6 to 8 of them could play in the game. And so you move them in different packages and different formations.
And the coaches all say they'll play the guy with a hot hand.
Right.
A couple more need to be mentioned. E.J. Horton is a junior. He's number 13. He's 6 foot tall. And Jarrell Williams, number 10. He's 6'2". He's a freshman.
He's a redshirt freshman. I got high hopes for him. He came in last year with Nico, and Nico threw the ball a lot to him late in that game, Towson, when we beat them. So we'll see. I don't know if he's taken a step up yet, but he's just young too.
Quarterbacks and receivers are question mark. We're excited about the running backs, but we're most excited about our offensive line.
Absolutely. What I love about football.
Big Wyatt Milam is number 74, 6'6", 310 pounds from Spring Valley. He's a junior.
West Virginia kid. We got him as just a junior. Loved that Texas game when he went and got the guy from Texas, but that's another story. We'll tell you about that other.
Thomas Remack, number 55, 6'6", 318 pounds. He's a sophomore.
He stepped in last year when, I can't remember the guard last year, quit with his family problems. Forgive me if I can't remember his name. But Remack stepped in. We were worried about that. We didn't really see a big drop off when Remack came in.
Remack's got a big potential.
Yeah,
I think it's an Ohio boy.
I think you're right. I like him.
Our center, number 54, Zach Frazier. He's 6'3", he's 311 pounds. He's a junior out of Fairmont, and he's already been mentioned as preseason Big 12.
Yeah, he's a wrestling champion in West Virginia 2 years. He's a candidate on the Remington Award, which is the best center in the country. He's quarterback of that offensive line. He's smart. I expect huge things out of him. Let's just see if we can keep him another year after this one.
Brandon Yates, likely on the other guard spot, number 50. He's 6'4", 316 pounds.
Brandon Yates been around a couple of years. He played tackle on the left side. He played tackle on the right side. He's even been worked out at center some this year. Unfortunate problem if anything happens. And he could start at right guard. Yeah, we're not sure about him being the starter at right guard just right. It might be either him or possibly Jaquay Hubbard.
Jaquay Hubbard is the other one, number 66. He's 6'5", 322 pounds. He's also a junior. Those two will probably alternate at that right guard. Then the only senior on this line is Doug Nestor.
Yep.
He's 6'7", 320 pounds, number 72. That was the boy who was from West Virginia, went to Virginia Tech,
Yep.
and then came back when Brown came in, and he's been an anchor on that line ever since.
He played through a hand. We had a cast on it. He had a rough time of it there for a while last year, but then he got through that. He's really good too. This is the best offensive line we've had in many, many years.
Waiting in the wings are a couple of guys to watch, but I don't think they're going to see a Bryce Biggs, Sullivan Weedman, and Maurice Hamilton, two freshmen and a sophomore that are very good. They're the quality that we normally would have if we didn't have even better in front of them.
Hey, Maurice Hamilton's really something special. And they're also talk about Malone, Nick Malone, number 58. He's actually a junior, and he's from Morgantown guy, but he's worked his way into the rotation. You're going to see a lot of linemen, but
Malone's 58.
Yeah,
58.
You're gonna, but we got three guys from West Virginia anchoring that line, and both tackles and center. Very, very good. So let's.
It's the strength. Now that line has been inconsistent in some of their games, so they're not an automatic. They got to get out there and fight. But that's the one part of this team that we're most excited about.
Absolutely, that's got to be our strength, and that's where we have to win games, by winning the line of scrimmage on our offensive line.
That's the offense. I think our offense is probably going to score. I think. A couple of things on offense. First of all, we haven't had a mobile quarterback since 2016 when Skylar Howard, who wasn't a great quarterback, he had a long arm and he was tough and he could run, and he led us to a 10-win season. We haven't had a 10-win season since then, even though we've had quarterbacks that went to the pros and 4 or 5 stars. We haven't won 10 since then. We also had an excellent offensive line back then. The center was Orlovsky, and he won some. He was even an assistant coach there for a while.
Yes.
I think he's coaching high school or something now.
That's right.
But a good offensive line and a scrambling quarterback was the last time we had serious success. We've got that now, and I think with these running backs, because they're excellent running backs, we're going to put some points up. Let's turn now, unless you got some other insights.
No,
we don't know about the receivers.
Keep that point in mind about what he said about the team looking like that 2016 team, and because I'll mention that later in the defense. The only thing that's different there is 16. We had Shelton Gibson, we had Karan White, we had some people that could catch the ball, but they were proven.
We don't know.
We don't have proven guys.
Question mark on the receivers. Although you know what I think about receivers. You throw a frisbee, the dog jumps up and catches it. The receivers ought to be able to do the same thing.
And of course, the dog ain't got other dogs knocking them around.
Yeah, sometimes. Last year, we dropped too many passes.
Absolutely.
Now let's go to the defense. Starting with the defensive line, we have a returner, a junior by the name of Sean Martin, 6'5", 290 pounds, number 91.
Kid from West Virginia. You got to understand, we don't have a Stills in our defensive line for the first time in a while.
Stills,
both of them, and there was one of them been there for years. They're both in the NFL now. Sean Martin's got to make a step up.
Stills were Fairmont boys, Martin's a Bluefield boy.
Bluefield, yeah.
Mike Lockhart is another 6'3", 309-pound junior. He's number 93.
He's the one that came in from Georgia Tech. He was going to probably play more nose guard, but they'll rotate him all around. I think is it. But I have high hopes for him too. He looked. I liked watching him last year, and he's an anchor in the middle of the field, tough to move.
The next junior is Eddie Vesternen. Number 96. The coaches love him.
He's from overseas. They taught him all about football, and he really likes it. He's a great guy, great kid, great interview if you ever get a chance. Big and strong. He knows
He's a
what to
hard
do.
worker.
Yeah.
Apparently, the coaches adore how he practices.
Hey, he's going to get in and play. You're going to see him. He's going to rotate into.
We've got a couple of freshmen backing them up. We'll flash up their numbers and the like up front. We're going to flash Fatorma Mulba was a transfer, was he not? 54.
Yep. I don't know
He's
where
6'3",
he came from.
306 pounds. I think he's.
I'm sorry, he
junior
came from Penn
transfer.
State. He's
Penn
the one that
State.
came from Penn State. Yeah, forgive me. I'll get them confused with Hawkins, but he did come from Penn State. Played for him last year. We'll see. Big, strong kid
So
too.
he gets to go back and tackle the people that he played with.
Well, maybe he's giving us a little tips on what they're going to do whenever on their offense when they line up a certain way or something. You hope that's the case.
But it's a relatively young defensive line too. There's not a senior on it. We have two more sophomores. Hammond Russell the fourth. He's 6'3", 303. He's number 94. Taurus Simmons, who plays defensive end kind of linebacker. He's at 40. His number's 44. Both of them are sophomores. Jalen Thornton is a 6'2", 277-pound junior.
Legacy. Been there. Dad played
Been there a
yeah.
long time. He's number 97.
Hammond Russell was the one that could potentially stand out, just for what it's worth. I know they mention him a lot in the practices, but I think you're going to see a switch, a rotation of him, Vestinarian, Lockhart, Martin. They're going to be moving them all around. I think you're going to see a lot of players.
And it's
play
going
on
to
that
be
defensive
important
line.
that we have fresh because we've got to stop the run because the defensive line is going to be average. Is the expectation maybe a little below average because we've lost the guys? It's questionable, and the linebackers will have to fill them in. So they'll shuffle people in and out on that. We'll see if we're doing the job well and working against the line. Although the positive thing is the coach said they're the most improved part of the team. They're playing against our offensive line, so they're getting good competition.
That helps, yeah, that helps you going against a really good line. So we'll see how that plays out. I think we didn't mention Hawkins, D.D. Hawkins, number 55. If you're going to wear 55 in West Virginia, you better be pretty good on that. But we'll see. Kid came from Tennessee State. Expect to see a lot of them on the defensive line, particularly early in the season. There'll be a lot of people. Sean Martin might be a constant, but you might see
Martin will be the one. He'll be in there for sure. I don't know if these guys are going to end up putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but we can argue about that as the season goes on. I don't know we're geared up for that. But if they get through the line, then our linebackers have to pick them up. Now we have a number of mixed linebackers that act up on the line or back as a defensive secondary. But Lee Koba, number 1 this year, he's a senior. That's one of the seniors on our defense. He'll be the middle linebacker. I'm expecting a lot of good things from him. Tyreek Austin Cave also is a junior. He's number 18. You can expect some pretty good things out of him.
We got this kid Visor who's coming out. He's number what? Number
36. Caden Visor.
I think you'll see him play some, but I'm looking to see some freshmen play here too. People like Ben Cutter, the true freshman coming in, and he may have a chance to play in that middle linebacker spot. And you got the other kid that was 33 and I can't say it, Jairo Favoris.
Yeah. He's a sophomore.
He's an international guy.
Number 33. But and I think this coach will shuffle these guys around. They won't necessarily be the Mike linebacker. They may be a Will linebacker, the weak side linebacker. Will is the weak side, Mike is the middle. And then they have one called a Spear and one called a Bandit. Now the Spear, the leading guy for that is a fellow named Hershey McLaren. He played last year.
Boy, he was a frustrating one there. But
he's a junior now. He's number 13. He annoyed me more than a few times last year because the secondary I didn't think was very good last year. They didn't tackle, and they were out of position.
Him and Marcus Floyd were my two biggest enemies in our secondary last year. So
well, there was a couple I won't badmouth them.
That's
Lance Dixon is also a Spear. He has the potential. He's going to be a junior. He just hasn't quite done it
Penn
yet.
State kid. He's another one transferred down, but
number 5.
I keep waiting for him to take that step and get on the field and dominate, but he just doesn't.
He just hasn't quite risen up yet. We've got 2 freshmen at the Spear, Raleigh Collins, He's a freshman, number 32, and Kristen Stokes, number 31. Both of them freshmen. Both of them come glowing recommendations. We've got to get them on the field and see whether they can beat out the upperclassmen. Switching to Bandit, a veteran by the name of Jared Bartlett has hot and cold games. I've seen him rapidly cross the line and put pressure on the quarterback one game, and the next game you wonder if he's even on the field.
He's number 10 against Virginia Tech last year. He had at least 2, 3, maybe 4 sacks, and I was like, this is great. He's learned how to rush the passer, and he's creating havoc in the backfield and stuff like that, and then he kind of went away. However, Coach Brown did say he's been much, much better in run defense this year. So,
he's the guy you're looking to put pressure on the passer.
Yeah.
He'll be the Bandit. We also have younger ones. Well, we have a Tyron Bradley, number 8 is a Bandit, and we have James Hurd, who's a freshman, number 56, also listed as a Bandit.
Keep your watch on Tyron Bradley. He's number 8. He's another one of those transfers. I think that guy could play his way into playing on a regular basis. I think he's a big, strong kid too. But Hurd is a true freshman, and they're all excited about him and his pass rush ability. So right. I don't know. I mean, again, you say in the past he wouldn't have played, but the way it is now, you might want to get him on the field before they leave. So we'll see what happens there.
The linebackers have been okay. They've been average or a little above average, I think, in past. But they're a question mark this year too. We're hoping they're going to be at least as good as last year.
Well, Koba's got to be he's got to step up and just be dominant.
Koba's got to run this. But last year we had the problem with one of our mainstays in the secondary by the name of Woods got hurt the first series of the first game, and we had some injuries after that. We kind of fell apart. So now we turn to the part that drives me crazy, and that's cornerbacks and safeties. And I lump them together because the coaches shuffle them around. But the cornerback that we have several seniors. We have in the quarterback seniors, we have Montre Miller. He'll be number 0. Transfer. He's a senior. We have Beanie Bishop, number 11.
Transfer. He's
a senior. And we have Malachi Ruffin. He's a senior, number 14.
Former walk-on.
Right. Those 3 are the senior cornerbacks. Then we have Andrew Wilson Lamp, number 7. He's a sophomore, and Jacoby Spells, number 6. He's a sophomore. Once again, you wonder if maybe the youngsters don't have more talent and just haven't passed the upperclassmen yet. But
that's why you got 2 transfers in that room.
Right.
That's why you got Miller, and that's why you got Bishop, because you can't trust Spells.
You weren't ready for them to step up.
And then of course Ben Wahad would have been there too, but he left also. But that's another story. Now Malachi Ruffin, steady player. He'll make some average good plays. I don't have anything bad to say about him, but he's just not spectacular. He's not locked down. He can get beat. He can miss tackles. But I love the guy. He's a Mountaineer.
Last year we had confusion. We were out of position lots of times, so we didn't get interceptions, and we didn't tackle. And lots of times we just the receivers would get the ball downfield and turn it little into big. That's got to change. If that doesn't change, we're in for a long season. And the coaches seem to think it has changed. We'll find out. Cornerbacks are one place to start. I am optimistic about the safety position because towards the end of last year, Aubrey Burks, number 2, started hitting people. He's a junior, and I like the way he was hitting people at the end of the year.
If you watch James Franklin's press conference, by the way, he called him Aubrey Banks. So I hope he gets right up in his face and says it's Burks when we went. But anyway, I agree. He got injured, went out for a little while. I think he's a great player. I think he's learned it. He's got it now. I believe it clicked. The light turned on. And
Brown teams get better as the year goes on. We took 2 out of the last 3 games against both the Oklahoma teams, and the team was much better at the end of the year than they were in the beginning.
The defense, particularly.
The defense, especially, and that's the part that hurt us last year.
Absolutely.
We have one senior back there at safety, and that's Marcus Floyd, number 24. And I'll let you talk about that.
He frustrated me a lot, particularly right off the bat in the Pitt game. They threw the pass to the back that came across the middle, and Floyd, instead of going over and tackling him, went over and pushed at him to try to push him out. I didn't like him ever after that. But,
I said we have
he-
one senior. We
he-
also have a.
He
I'll go
does.
ahead.
I say because he doesn't hit people, which
He doesn't
leads me
hit
to two more transfers that you're going to tell us about.
Yeah, we do have another senior. The Keyshawn Cobb, number 23, is a transfer. He's a senior. And then we've got Anthony Wilson, who the coaches are excited about, number 12, little guy, 5'9". He's a junior, but they're just raving about how he knocks people around.
Both of these guys are hitters. That's what you need. In fact, Anthony Wilson even said he liked to pattern his game after Carl.
Carl Joseph.
Carl Joseph, the Mountaineer. Number
Mountaineer
8,
that
if you
would
remember
knock
Carl
you
Joseph,
around.
he knocked some people around. So anybody that can even be close to him would be great. So that's what I like it. They've added some hitters in the back end. And the thing is, as compared to 2016, if you remember that we did have Charles Fisher, who was the one, it was not Charles, it wasn't Charles Fisher, but the Fisher was the defensive back, the cornerback who was good, who ended up going on to the NFL. But we had a whole bunch of defensive secondary, and Gibson shuffled them in and out a lot. That's very similar to this team. You're going to
Well,
see a lot
I
of
think
different
you
players.
see a lot of that when you don't really
Agreed.
have the stars.
Agreed.
You keep
That's
shuffling
what
them
you have
around,
to
you
do.
keep confused. But people forget Gibson back then, with what I thought was very average people in the secondary, beat Pat Mahomes,
Yep.
who's a very good quarterback.
Yeah,
He
he never
confused him because we did it because we knew what we were doing. Now last year, I don't think we knew what we were doing, and we didn't hit in the secondary. That's my rant.
It's a lethal combination.
Yeah.
That's why we're one of the worst defenses in the country, giving up points wise, yardage wise, and not generating turnovers.
I also disagree with some of the strategy of the coaches because I thought we spent too much time looking at the receiver and not into the backfield, and that's why we didn't get any interceptions. We were one of the lowest ranked teams for interceptions and turnovers. We didn't get them.
We didn't get turnovers. We've got to get more turnovers on the defense.
And when you're looking at the receiver and you've got your back to the quarterback and he breaks and runs like happened in the Kansas game last year, you don't even know he's broken and run to turn to help tackle. So you give him extra. I got to rant at least one rant every time. So that secondary has got to get better.
Has to be better.
Now we know it can be. We know when Brown showed up, we put together a pretty good defense the first couple of years. And we know it can be, but it fell apart the last couple of years. That's got to stop. We've got to hit people hard, and we've got to cover them. And if we do that, and our receivers catch the ball, I think we'll be an above-average team.
I tend to agree. I believe what the influxes of these players maybe came from smaller schools, or maybe not, haven't played on the Power 5 level, which Bishop has. But one thing for sure, these guys will hit you and tackle you. So they might be out of position, which they probably will be. But that's what I want to see. I remember when he came to coach here, Coach Brown, I said, one thing you'll see about the Coach Brown team is they will tackle people. And boy, did we get away from that last year. We did not tackle well at all. We didn't force turnovers. We didn't tackle well. I'm piling on the defense, but you got to be better. The defense has to be better, or or Brown will be out on his ear.
If you don't have a defense that can stop people, then you got to have a horse race offense that puts up 40, 50 points a game. We haven't had that. We haven't had that in the Brown era. We haven't had the quarterback who can do it. We haven't had the receivers that can do it. We haven't had the runners that can do it.
Right.
We can put up 20 or 30 points a game, but that's not enough if you're giving up 35 or 40. So, and the secondary is who gets tested in the Big 12. Got to change.
I agree.
I think we're going to score. I think we're going to move the ball down the field. I think we're going to see one of the better offenses we've had in a number of years. We've got all the potential there if these receivers catch the ball. And I'm excited about our tight ends. I'm excited about our running backs. Our line needs to be consistent. I think we'll move the ball up and down the field. If our secondary can keep the passes in front of them and hit the guys when they catch them, I think we can keep the score down. We can have a fun year.
Potentially have a pretty decent season. So.
We could talk very quickly about special teams if you want. I know we've got Oliver Straw
He's the punter, the
and
Australian
Danny King and Michael Hayes. That's 41, 39, and 22.
There's a real battle going on.
We
with the
lost
King.
two
We lost
good-
Casey Legg. Yeah.
Two good kickers
Yeah.
last year, but the coaches are excited about the ability to punt This kid can punt with either foot.
He can punt it. They said he can spiral it. He can kick it end over end. He can kick it to end over end backwards. I don't know how he does all that, but apparently he knows a little bit about punting. So I just haven't seen him kick it very far. Although the other kid in camp is a Hayes, and so he can really punt the ball a long way. So we're curious. Maybe where we might have a little bit of advantage on Penn State as special teams.
And by the way, yeah, Penn State, it's coming up.
All new people.
By the way, we don't have a single senior in that group either.
Right.
No, but there's like fewer than 5 seniors on this squad. Most of them are sophomores and juniors. So we are building. It's going to be a fun season.
Thanks for watching.